Man, manned up. George Pickering manned up in a big way. This is a man's man right here, man. We should all. George Pickering is a can of man. All right, our manned up series is an intermittent series. It's just where we sort of honor the heroes in the hard cases who show us what men can be and what men should be. George Pickering, this man's the real deal. Not much luck. You look at him; he looks like he might be in his 60s, mid 60s or something. Now, this story happened in 2015, and I'm just now finding out about it. And I wish I heard about it before. George Pickering has two sons. One of his sons was George Pickering III. George Pickering is George Pickering II, and then his son was George Pickering III. And George II, the old man, manned up in a big way for his son. His son had a stroke. He took him to the doctor, and George is the kind of man we need more. If we had more men like George right now, we would not be in the place we are. George is the man America needs right now. If we had 1,000 Georges, this whole problem would be solved in a heartbeat. So the doctor comes and tells George that his son is brain dead, and that they need to pull the plug. And it just happened. Just happened. And the boy's mother agreed and understood. The boy's brain dead. Let's pull the plug. Their other son agreed. Oh, it's terrible. My brother's dead. Pull the plug. The doctors started. I'm not gonna make any accusations because I don't know. But the doctors had already called and told the organ people to come get his organs, or that his organs would be available. George wasn't buying it. Now, the doctors are telling him his son is dead. The boy's mother, I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm sure if it's his wife or not, but the boy's mother thought he was dead. His other son thought the boy was dead. All the important people in George's life were telling him that this son was, I shouldn't say dead, I think the kid was 26, 27 at the time. But everyone that matters is telling him this son is dead. And George said, no, he's not. And he tried to get more time, and they wouldn't give him more time. So George manned up. He went and got a gun. Kid you not, George went home, got a gun, came back, barricaded himself in the hospital room with his son, and refused to let anyone in the door. SWAT team gets called. Now, what kind of testosterone, what kind of courage, first off, what's the right word? This man he wasn't trusting anyone else. He had total faith in his own judgment. Even if his judgment could have been wrong. I mean, the rest of this guy's life could have been terrible. I don't know. But he trusted himself. He trusted his gut. He had what I would call confidence in his authority. And he just balls all day long. This guy was as brave as they get. The experts were telling him the kid was dead. The SWAT team's at the door of the hospital room getting ready to kick it down. George still isn't giving up. He holds the door, he barricades it, he won't let anyone in for, I think it was 3 hours or 4 hours. In the meantime, he's working with his son. And he finally gets the boy starts responding to him, squeezing his hand and everything. He would make eye contact, and the kid was clearly alive. It wasn't a kid, he was a young man. Clearly alive. Because George got a gun and barricaded himself in the door, didn't let anyone else tell him different. George knew what was right. George had guts doesn't begin to describe it. I mean, I don't have words for how much I respect this man. This is an amazing man. To have the intestinal fortitude, the confidence, the determination, physical courage, a gun. I mean, this guy had it all, and he put it all on the line for his son. The boy lived. Now here's the indictment. There's several indictments here. First off, it was an indictment of our medical community that was going to kill that boy. That young man is healthy as a horse now. Perfectly normal, no side effects. The medical community was going to kill that boy. They were going to pull that plug as quick as they could and get his organs out of him and give him to God knows who. Probably some rich old guy who drank himself out of a liver. So there's an indictment of the medical community. But the big indictment, in my opinion, George went to jail. They arrested him. They charged him with felony assault. So George doesn't have a gun anymore. And he spent a year in prison. Now, this was like 2015 he got out. He didn't spend a whole year. They definitely went easy on him. But George used a gun to save his son's life. and he went to prison for it. Now that's wrong, and we didn't hear anything about that at the time. I didn't hear the NRA say anything about it. I didn't hear Gun Owners of America say anything about it. I didn't hear Fox News say anything about it. Everyone let the fact that this man saved his son's life, and he went to jail for saving his son's life, just water under the bridge. Oh, we don't know what to do with that, because it's violence, and they don't know what to do with violence. They don't know what to do with men standing up and men taking control. Even though you see what happens when they do, lives get saved. They can't deal with that. Even the people who claim to be conservative, little minds go, woo! And they sent George to jail, and I guarantee you George doesn't have a gun anymore. A country that doesn't let George have a gun, that is a sick, twisted country. That is perverse. That a man who used his gun to save his son's life in the face of criminal negligence, I mean, that's like, those doctors were going to murder that kid. He was alive, and they were going to kill him. And George stopped them with a gun, and he went to prison. He doesn't regret it at all. The story I read, he's like, that's fine, no problem, I'm good with it. But a nation that sends George to jail instead of giving him a parade, and instead of electing him to some high office, and instead of paying him to go around and speak to our young men and teach them what it is to be a man, that's a sick country. There is a problem. We all know there's a problem. It's nothing new to you. But there's a problem when George Pickering goes to jail instead of going to meet the president. Sick. But there you go. George Pickering II manned up in a big way. I can't say enough about this guy. He is definitely a hero and a hard case. Men, we appreciate you. Thank you.